Hello, geometry students. So we're starting a new unit all about circles. And so I'm going to first talk to you about some circle vocabulary. So you're going to want to follow along with me and write down some notes because we'll refer back to these vocabulary terms later. So first we have the word center. And so we're going to draw an example of this here. And we're going to label it with a capital C. So the center of a circle is a point that is the same distance from every point on the circle. So it's in the middle of that circle. Then we also have the term diameter, and that's one that we're familiar with. We have center point C, and the diameter is that line segment. It's a line segment that goes through the center of the circle. We also had the term radius. This is another one that we've talked about before. Little r. Usually we call label diameters with lowercase d. So little r here. A radius is a line segment with one endpoint on the center of the circle and another end and the other endpoint on the circle. So we have the one endpoint here and the other endpoint here. This is a radius. So now the new word that we're going to learn about is the word sector. And that's this new one here, so sector. So if we have the center of the circle, we have two radii, we're going to enclose a space, like this yellow space here. So a sector is a part of the circle created by two radii. And the sector area is the area in the shaded portion, shaded part. So we're going to learn how to find sector area in the next video. There are a couple more words we need to know though before we move on. First is the term central angle. So we're going to start with having center of the circle C, and we're going to draw a radii here, and we're going to draw another radii here. And this, remember, this is theta, it means an angle. And so we're talking a central angle is an angle whose vertex, the center, is the center of the circle. So this right here is the angle created by two radii and the center point. So it's an angle whose vertex is the center of the circle. So let's say we call this point A and this point B, then the example would be angle ACB, and C is the vertex. Vertex is the center. There are also angles called inscribed angles. So if this is point C, then we're going to have, we'll keep this as point A, and we'll put this as point J, and we'll put this as point Z. So what we've created here in blue, or bluish green, is another angle So example, angle JAZ is an inscribed angle, and this is an angle whose vertex is on the circle, not the center. So the vertex here is going to be point A. Then we have one more term that we need to talk about, and that is arc measure. So first, what is an arc? We need to define that term first. So let's switch colors. So an arc is a portion of the circle's circumference. And I'll show you in the diagram. What does that look like? So it could look like this right here. That's an arc. This is also an arc. That smaller portion. This is also an arc. These are all arcs. They're all portions of the circle. So if I put this point here as point J and this point here as point, let's say L, then an example of how we would write this would be arc AL. And so arc measure is the amount of degrees in the arc. And we can think about this because the total degrees in a circle is 360. So the measure of arc AL, if that's half the circle, could be 180 degrees. So we'd say 180 degrees right here. And maybe the arc here, we'll name this point A. This measure here, lost some color there. Maybe this is 30 degrees. So they can have different measures. So this is the vocabulary we're going to need to work through this week and the next week. So make sure you write it down, and you need to rewatch if you need to.